They say bad things happen in threes, and that certainly seems to be true on my end. On Friday night, we got stuck for 2.5 hours on the side of the road because the transmission blew in my missus's car. So that had to get towed away. That'll be about 4.5 grand to fix, apparently. North put up what they did for my missus earlier this afternoon, and then the Hawks played like that. Awesome. Feeling real good about this weekend right now, and it's only Saturday evening. So I might be editing this on the exercise bike because it's good to get that level of fitness up, or somewhat level of fitness up. At this point, I've probably fallen off the damn thing and broken something, as per my luck at the moment. But there can be different trains of thought, I think, around this game. You could be like me and be thinking that this game was lost on Thursday night. And there can be those of you that think that it was lost on the day. Personally, like I said, I'm more of a, did you look at the team going in? It already didn't look great. And then it turned into the cataclysmic shit show that we saw on screen for 3 hours. That's kind of where I stand on this. And the margin's embarrassing. The game's not finished at the time of recording this, by the way. What is the score? 119-79. Okay, so we've kicked 2 in a row since I initially sat down to record. That doesn't mean much. The game could end up, even if we kick another 2 and it's like 28 points, I don't really give a damn. My sentiment is going to remain exactly the same throughout. And that is, right now, we are in a low confidence rut. And I kind of said the same thing after last week's game, but I kind of went, can you be excused for that kind of behaviour against a team that has performed better than us this year on their home deck? Now, Melbourne are awesome, and they deserve all the credit in the world. I'm going to be doing, spoiler alert, a video on them this week on Daz Talks Footy because they deserve it. Their rebuild has been masterful, and Stephen King is a genius. Absolutely. And they absolutely deserve all of the credit in the world. This isn't the Melbourne part of the show, channel, video, whatever word you want to use is absolutely fine with me. This is the Hawk side, and right now, we look awful. Awful. Basic handballs, not hitting the targets. Tackles, not sticking. Transition run, unrewarded. And you want to talk about structurally, Connor Nash is missed out of this midfield. And if you had told me in the first half that the midfield would be the best of our 3 units, I would have been dancing in the street. And it only turned out to be that way because Finn did such a good job on Cozzy Pickett in the first half, tagging him. The defense was being unrewarded up the ground, so they weren't getting any help at all. And the forward line was abysmal because for some reason, Mitch Lewis was the only forward that thought to himself, hey, if I do what Jack Gunston's done for 15 years and lead up at the ball carrier, things can happen. Now, you can excuse the fact that Kalsha's still young, he's 20, and Ramsden is not it. You know, at least we know that beyond a shadow of a doubt now. And Gunners will hopefully be fine when he comes back in, of course. But Rama ain't it. And because we weren't using him as a second ruckman, we don't actually know whether he's going to be good at that at AFL level or not. But I don't really see how it goes on from here. Connor's probably going to replace the pencil, who 17 touches in the first 2.5 quarters-ish was around what I'd saw. 7 of them were turnovers, which is not great. Now, again, a couple of those turnovers were just the unfortunate nature of the Hawthorn player who was kicking it to got outmarked. Not great in the slightest, but with a very low kick-to-handball ratio, having that amount of turnovers is not great at all. Tom Sparrow did a great job on Jai Newcomb. But outside of Jarman Impey and Dylan Moore, who are you, based off a first watch, giving a conclusive tick to? Because that's just about it that I've got. Now, I'll do the player ratings after watching this back from a non-emotional standpoint, but the story out of this isn't actually really about today for me. It is about now a 3-week sample of a side that should be better than this, but isn't. And team selection being a weakness is very strange to me. Box Hill just got over the line against Richmond, who had barely any AFL players listed in. But you look at a guy like Flynn Perez, why is he not in the side at the moment? And yet we picked Harry Morrison again, who last year, Harvey Langford killed him. And in this one, Harvey Langford killed him. I really don't get where that is going. And we kind of want to seemingly strike the balance between having depth as a contender. Whereas if we use this period to keep trialing new things, that's why I'm not really going to be harsh on Henry Hustwaite in this video. We had to find out. And again, what we found out is that the he and Connor Nash archetype, and Nash just does it a little bit better than Henry at this point, is that if we do want to have that bigger bodied, muscled midfielder, Nash is just the better version of that. And unfortunately, Henry doesn't have another trick to his game. So that's kind of what we figured out. But does that mean that I'm going to go all in and bag out the guy who's played 11, 10 AFL games? No. But frankly, we played some guys today that we just know conclusively are not going to be part of the next premiership side if it is going to be under this regime. And I'm still confident that it will be. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go, we are absolutely fucked, because we're not. I mean, I know it's 1 loss and 3 games where we haven't been that great. But Jesus, it's only 3 games, guys. Like, we're not here trying to sound off, a mighty evacuation of confidence here. It's more like going, okay, we kind of need to have a staff meeting about this because we're starting to notice a problem here. As they say, once is a fluke, twice is a warning, 3 times is a pattern. We are now in a pattern of bad transition defense, poor in-close skills, and once again, only 1.5 midfielders showing up. And this is where I need to go, Josh Ward, you were awesome. And I actually think when I said who you're giving a big tick to, can't remember if I said Wardy or not. If I didn't, let's include him in this part of the conversation because he was terrific. First quarter, him and Josh Weddle, who had the nightmare moment of Sicily pushing Fritsch into him, which led to the Harrison Petty mark. But those two were the only ones that looked at all damaging with ball in hand. Jarman got going a little bit in the back end of that first quarter, but for the majority of the quarter, it was those two, and Wardy didn't let up. Now, he had one nightmare moment in the last quarter, and what sucks, and this is where I do feel for guys like Wardy who can be on the fringe in some people's minds, and it's still mine, by the way, I'll give him credit where it's due, obviously, is that if that's the last thing you remember, it's like having like a really gourmet, like 5-course dinner, and your least favorite is the dessert. Now, it might not have been a bad dessert. It may not have been, burnt or raw or anything like that. It might have just been maybe something that wasn't really to your liking. For me, it would be like a passion fruit cheesecake. I love cheesecake. I'm also not a fan of passion fruit. So, if I got given a really nice 5-course meal that ended with passion fruit cheesecake, I wouldn't then turn around and go, well, that was a shit meal. I would go, that was a really good meal. I really enjoyed it. Dessert wasn't my thing, but overall, loved it. That's how I feel about Wardy's game, right? He was 4 courses of goodness and a passion fruit cheesecake at the end. I can live with that. Absolutely. He was awesome. Loved everything that he did. The coolness, the calmness, the composure. The game looked like it slowed down for him, so he deserves credit for that. Outside of that, 120 to 81. Okay, 39 points. You go 6.5 goals. That's, is what it is. Yeah, nope. If we start doing that, if we start doing the whole, it could have been worse, it could get worse. Now, of course, I'm not talking from a fan point of view. I'm talking the player point of view. But we need to kind of figure out where we're at. And that is not going to be like let's get to the bye. With how close this competition is, we got Adelaide at Tassie. And I don't know if you saw what they did to North, but that second quarter, they beat the shit out of them. And that can happen to us. We've seen it now. So we just need to be a little bit careful there. In terms of like raw numbers and stuff, I don't really think anything stands out. Carl had 28. Oh, my man Dylan Moore, my God, 27. That was the return that we wanted. I mean, 27-2 would be a ridiculous thing to expect every single time, of course, but I thought he was fantastic. Bodie Ryan as well, I think, gets a tick. Remember when I said, do we give anyone a tick? And I go 2 players. Now I think it's 5 because, I sit down to record without a script. You could probably think to yourself, this could use a script, Daz. Good luck to you. Awesome. Connor McDonald as well, I just kind of want to finish on this point because the rest of it's it was shit and we need to move past this as quickly as possible. Connor McDonald, for me, had the biggest tease game of anyone because he was really good. And for the life of me, throughout those second and third quarters, I just wish that we had the cleanliness that he showed in that period. I obviously don't know what his last 10 minutes were like, but God, I wish we had that cleanliness 2 or 3 more times per quarter because my God, did we make scoring look hard in this one. And I know, no Gunston or anything like that. But I'm also going to be here and be like, us, and again, if we use Adelaide as the example, we both didn't have our 33-year-old key forwards. One of us performed, one of us didn't. So leading into next week, that's going to be key. But yeah, this wasn't good. It wasn't fun. At no point during this game did I go, we look like the better side. And going in, we absolutely should have been. So we have got some things to think about, think through, all those sorts of things. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you want to. I never know how these lost videos are going to do. Hopefully it does okay. I can get some freaking positive out of this bullshit weekend that is upon us. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. If you got like personal projects or you're just relaxing, awesome. Love all of those things. Be kind to yourselves. Be better to each other. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.